could have played out right there. But what matters at the very end is that Furious still sent them right back to the lobby earlier on in that first game.
And you're probably right. They probably were going for that second ring beacon to find out a lot of information to set themselves up for success. But hey, to be honest, Vicky, I'm just really glad we got a countdown ending. I know the last time we met for World's Edge on Group B versus C, we had 3 climatizer zones on World's Edge back to back to back. So I'm excited to see where match number 2 is going as a lot of these teams drop in. It looks like the hot zone's going to be the tree for Karasuna over there. Some good loot to start things off with, but I'm not sure if we had any contests in match number 1, so I'm trying to keep an eye out if I see any bit of people landing on one another. You see Furia getting nestled down there in Countdown with HEC taking landslide. So some good moments there on the rotation, but the question is, where are we heading to? And it's a southern zone, Vicky.
Oh, yeah, I love these southern zones too, because this is going to favor the likes of TSM, Optic Gaming, who land in Big Mod and take all of the loot in Lava City, as well as the beacon. The only 50-50 I do believe we saw in game number 1 was first attempt versus C9, and C9 bullied them, cleaned them up as the first squad to go down in the lobby, and then C9, after even taking that win, we're like, all right, you could hold your staging. It's cool. We're going to go right back to where we usually land, and that is between Epicenter and Climatizer. So C9, you know, just taking a step back, letting them breathe just for a moment before tuning into our winners from game number 1, Luminosity.
When I look at this team, the only thing I can hear is Fallout pronouncing Guaguaras. I can't say it the way he is, bro. I can't roll my R's, and it's so beautiful. I was like, I'm gonna see how he does it. No, it doesn't work out for me, but we had the chance to talk to Yanya after match day number 3, and honestly, he just made sense, right? They were talking about how this team just plays so incredibly well together. They enjoy playing as a team and honestly having fun. That's all showing in their gameplay throughout Pro League Split 1, and I'm just excited for the future of this team, Vicky.
Absolutely, and with Nizul 2, Yanya being a heavy fragger, Luminosity are looking absolutely fantastic. I get to see them pop off in games like Smash Brothers, and they continuously pop off in one of my other favorite esports space being Apex, and we get to see our other squads already actually contesting other teams in the middle of their rotation. We're tuning into Head currently, trying to rotate through Harvester. Maybe if they could secure that information with the beacon to their south, but it looks like they're actually going to get pressured out by that squad that has them in their line of sights, and it can be very difficult to be able to get that beacon, even with the crypto, if it gets deleted before you can even get that information off the beacon.
Yeah, exactly. I know the crypto allows you to kind of overextend through the drone to grab the beacon instantly, but you can see first attempt, they had that contest in match number 1 with C9, but it looks like they're starting to kind of push in on HEC, and I don't think they're really going to commit to that fight just yet, but you can see in the elims that it looks like TSM's getting into a little bit of a scuffle. Fury going down, so that's going to be Karasuno, and would love to jump in on that before it's almost over. I mean, one last standing for Karasuno, just trying to get out of dodge.
In the mouth of launch site, we know that Luminosity is probably to the south of this point here too. So Tempest, I'm so sorry, but you are about to go into the open arms of Luminosity once they're done probably scanning that beacon. But run as fast as you can, because TSM are on the other side waiting for you. Reps still, by the way, rocking the fuse, which is always something that I like to highlight early on in the Pro League, because it was a bit of that back and forth, whether they wanted to stick to the Seer. Raven was very, very keen on making sure that this fuse was played here, and Reps' fuse goes nasty crazy.
I know, it's so funny. Raven has been all over my timeline recently, the analyst there for TSM, but Verhol's picking up the first 2 eliminations for TSM, which is already a better start than they were having in match number 1. Now a little bit of calm before the storm, but let's go ahead and talk about this. We started out match day number 3, B versus C, the time these first groups met, but before I cut into that, they're getting EMP'd. You see Hal right there trying to drop the shield, unfortunately still taking that damage. The question is, will that crypto team go ahead and push in and capitalize on that EMP, or are they just going to be farming for their shields?
I don't think it'd be a good idea to push it on TSM right here in this location. Even though they're not playing a bunker down character like Caustic or Watson, it's the fact that they have this control while other squads are probably already in Lava Siphon. As you can already see, Oxygen actually making their appearance in Lava Siphon. This would allow teams to get on the high ground of Lava Siphon and even poke from afar into the mouth of the launch site. And with Luminosity and Optic in the area who could rotate south of Lava City, it would just not be a great idea. We've actually seen this circle sometimes end up right below where TSM is positioned at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see how other squads try to contest them in terms of that building.
Well, I mean, this is kind of their drop spot POI, so obviously extremely comfortable for this, but slept on able on that caustic right there with Sung, being able to really show and anchor this space that they've got in this building. You see the ultimate coming out already, and some Arc Stars trying to double down. They are taking a little bit of damage, but so far not too bad. But the question is, can HEC reach this caustic? You know, every time you're inside a building and there's a caustic, the last thing you want to do is to be able to breach that. You're going to have to utilize all of the ordnance that you have in your hands to get in there.
Which they basically used up the best tool that they can when it comes to negating these barrels, and it is the EMP. And there's another squad that are on the outskirts of Lava Siphon that are taking some shots onto Slept-On, but with the Caustic, like you mentioned before, this is one of those legends that you do not want to contest here. Even though you could destroy those barrels now, which is why we don't see Caustic utilized as often, it's still a very powerful tool in terms of controlling space, unless your team has a Caustic to actually claim that away.
Yeah, and I mean, Slept-On right now currently sitting in 30th place, so they need to turn it around starting now with only 3 more stages of group play after this. I feel like you kind of have to start now and just fry out to find yourself in the top 20 to get into the regional final. But HEC just on the outside of that top 9, getting pestered right there, is going to be killed by a charge rifle. And we were kind of talking about it. We're always seeing charge rifles, and when I think of charge rifles, I think of Verholz. Homie always has a charge rifle in his hand, usually with that 3x scope on it, and just being an absolute nuisance.
Yeah, if it's not Verholz, it's also Reps. When he was on the Gibby, that arm shield with the charge rifle was an absolute nuisance. Heck on the other side, still with the G7 and the double tap that Hill could rock with, would like to get some damage. You want to be able to boost up that Evil Shield. He's literally 1 bullet away from getting a blue Evil Shield, and they're splitting their attention to the squads that could be rotating right behind him because they have the information of where the circle is going to be pulling, so they want to hang out here to boost up their Evo Shields and maybe get engaged in a fight if no other squads around in the area. Like Sentinels, actually, Sennox going down at first in this initial fight. The Zero also getting put down for Sentinels to know the information.
Looks like we got Tex POV, aka Sen Coach, stepping in. Lou no longer a part of the Sentinels, but not giving up Apex Comp just yet. Just dancing in there, trying to go ahead and finish off the squad. That's going to be all they wrote for BR Demons. You can see just how far on the outskirts of the next ring they are. So they're going to get a clean reset here. I'm not sure if there's anyone in the nearby vicinity, but it sounds like they're already pinging an enemy. And look at our observers giving us the information we need. That's going to be Furia coming in, Vicky.
Playing around the edge and playing right into their team composition. A very aggressive team comp between the Bangalore and the Bloodhound. And with the alley-oop taking that gravity lift onto the high ground is his Watson. He's got the Arc Star ready. He's going to try to prevent them from trying to reset. You know that Sentinels right now is shaking a bit here. If they have the opportunity to shield off, they have the boxes underneath them to play with.
I mean, this is going to be a grudge match if you think about it. Tech used to play on Furia. His Watson stepping in on that Furia team, getting second at ALGS champs. And there you have it. Sentinels eliminated here in match number 2 at the hands of Furia. Bang smokes going out so they can go ahead and get that clean stability reset right there. And then they're just going to carry on their merry way into the ring.
And also such a smart way for them to rotate and get involved in this third party. Why? Not only do they have the KP now to work off of this, they have all the extra loot from the boxes from the previous fight against Sentinels, as well as the fight before that when Sentinels came up on top, and the beacon that's right off to their left in No Name. And they can note that with the circle already closing in behind them, that there's probably no other squads in the Fragment East area to negate any of their rotation, so they could take all their sweet time to rotate into the north side of Lava Siphon.
Yeah, they probably won't find any resistance until they get to that outer edge of the current ring, but let's jump on board. We got 100 Thieves, and actually it's Amu with that charge rifle in their hand. I always feel like there's at least 4 to 5 players playing the charge rifle, and it's always fun when you're the one griefing with the charge rifle, never when you're on the other side of the charge rifle, that is for sure. But 17 squads remaining, and it seems like a lot of these teams are starting to collapse upon each other in that Lava Siphon area, and as soon as you get that kind of second or third round beacon where that ring is really going to start pulling, we'll see a lot of teams forced to fight.
I don't blame these players for rocking the charge rifle, Tiff. At the same time, you got the charge rifle that could absolutely beam the players that are in the middle of using a skyward dive, which with every squad basically running a Valk minus the very rare 2 to 3, it's going to be very detrimental in pressuring not in the middle of flying in. E8 now gets that crack, but they lose out in Presley in the process.
Yeah, it looks like Luda is going to be on the other side, grabbing the down on Presley. So maybe a 3v2 scenario here. Looks like Golden's trying to reset just a little bit, just on the outskirts of that Seer exhibit. But there's a fuse in the area, and you can see that ultimate coming through on the inside. That's not going to be someone from Esports Arena. So we have another team in the vicinity, but Luda stepping in right there, an absolute menace of a controller player with that Volt in hand, throwing down a lot of damage, does get tagged up and is forced to kind of back away before going down. Now the question is, can Capra and Phony clutch up in this moment and fend off 100 Thieves and everyone else in the nearby vicinity?
Yeah, there's 2 fuses in the lobby, and Mercy only from this squad is going to be actually on the high ground right here. So that was actually a very defensive fuse ult to utilize to prevent Esports Arena from trying to push in after getting that initial knock. So very smart for EA to not only disengage, but to cover their backs with that insurance fuse ult.
I did see a gold knockdown shield to kind of help that reset. Now you can see just getting some syringes in, making sure you're at full health and capacity to be able to get back in that fight. But honestly, I think it's a time that you should just kind of cool off, wait a little bit. There's still 17 squads remaining, but look, they're still going back in for more, and 100 Thieves pushing inside the building, which I actually like this play for them. Backslon's going to take a lot of damage and get punished for it, and unfortunately, Fury's going to go down as well, and that's actually going to be from ESA coming back in. Capra absolutely frying.
And they're getting griefed by a charge rifle across the other side of the map. Oh, unfortunate for 100 Thieves, but a nice split fight push for that squad that is actually playing on the outside of this Lava Siphon building. Here comes the scan right here for Bloodhound. Furia is the squad that's playing on the edge, looking to claim even more heads. Let's jump into a listening with Furia.
I think we push this duo. There's so many teams, dude.
Oh, let's maybe run after the duo?
They're right here.
There's a need jet.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, 64 purple. This Valkyrie's alone right now.
Yeah, I'm swinging her.
70 on her.
She's going out the door. She went out the door.
70 on her.
I can't. I'm backing up. I'm popping the bat. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, there's too much.
Go here.
You have to watch me. I have to bat.
You're good.
They're right above us.
No, they're not.
Never mind. Audio. You're good.
No syringe.
We're in. We're big time in zone.
The Watson fans, there's a team there. Bridge.
Yeah.
I'm healing.
Yeah,
We can let them. We can let this team fight. We can let this team fight, and we 3P them again.
What if we just broke this drone right now?
Spotted a numpty over there.
You want to fight this? They're playing. Really
Yeah, we could run this team down. I just broke their. I just broke their.
Alright, I'm popping ult XL. I'm not with you. And no scan for 13.
Do you see where I am? Bro, I'm like... They're right here. I'm gonna destroy their jet.
Wait, yeah, they were just
128 on 130, 140 on
I'm
near
bad
me.
in there. What?
I'm dropping down low ground. I'm under bridge.
Valkyrie's one.
Getting it. Yeah. I'm nading her. Nading her.
Yep.
She has to move.
Got him.
Nice.
I'm finishing her.
We can play slow.
Take down crypto.
Nice.
They're like over here somewhere.
I don't
Yeah.
have scan.
He's gonna have EMP soon. He's gonna have EMP
Is
soon.
it a duo, right?
I'm looting real quick. Yes, it's a duo. It's a Crypto Watson.
Amazing listening from Furia, sponsored by WD Black. I love the fact that we get to hear Furia not only take control of that fight, but nice way to also initiate in that fight with his Watson staying on the high ground so that way he could get a different angle to pressure out that team on the low ground.
Yeah, it was really interesting because we kind of walked through several different areas in that listen, and they were trying to take a fight onto a duo, then they disengage and kind of reheal in that RV, and then they go out onto the bridge to really pester Season. But look who's here ready to answer back because they want a piece of Fury. That's gonna be 100 Thieves kind of just looking around this fence right here, trying to get some shots off onto them.
I like this call from 100 Thieves to take to the skies with the Skyward Dive. Other teams are congesting the air zone currently right now within the middle of their rotation because there are so many teams on the north side of Lava Siphon, and all these teams want to race to the very final circle positioning. We already have squads that are basically bunkering up inside the mouth of that vault cave. I believe it is the guard, which plays into their team comp, rocking the Watson. They're going to be able to set up that perimeter fence line. You can see 100 Thieves popping off in the kill feed, actually fully sending it onto Esports Arena.
Yeah, it's going to be really challenging to hold that choke point, but if anyone can do it, it's definitely going to be the guard. But 100 Thieves, they just come in from that Valk ult, finding a little bit of turmoil here, trying to get a clean reset, utilizing the Newcastle wall, the Watson Jenny, trying to get that revive off. Thankfully, you've got the Newcastle that's already down. Unlucky for them, but no worries. As we see that ring start to pull out, you mentioned that chokehold, but guess what other team is always out in that vicinity that lands Lava City Big Mod? That's going to be like Optic Gaming, and they are probably getting up to have prime positioning for that next zone.
Yeah, probably playing on the southern side of that zone, actually looking at Space Station. Denial in a lot of trouble. Let's see if they can actually get the res. That's why you see the Seer ult, the exhibition release, so that way they can have the information if any squad wants to contest them.
Ooh, they are able to get Zenile back up, trying to drop the Watson Jenny, but Optic Gaming on the other side, just punishing them, not wanting Space Station to get back to their full potential. They are going in. And Optic Gaming is a team that we've needed to see this level of aggression for. I think back to the days on LAN where we saw just how dominating they were, and I want to see that Skittle Cakes from LAN. I just remember that epic moment in an endgame circle where he's able to shield swap twice. Skittle Cakes on Horizon, just absolutely savage. He's got that gold R301, and I'm ready to see them find success here.
Absolutely, especially when you exit out of big mod with all the best loot that you could work with. They're trying to wrap around behind Space Station, but not trying to overextend because, again, they recognize that it is the Watson perimeter fences that are trying to block Space Station and the rotation that they may want to go for. The guard is holding onto the tunnel that's off to the right of Space Station where the vault is. So Optic Gaming are basically split focusing two teams at once with their positioning right now. You highlight Skittles and his Horizon. We've also seen Skittles go absolutely crazy on the Caustic, and that's not what they've opted for. Instead, they've been taking a lot more of an aggressive stance with their team composition.
Yeah, I'm curious. I feel like this is going to be a moment where it's calm before the storm. Space Station getting griefed by a nearby Horizon's missile storm, probably at the hands of Optic Gaming. But the question is, who is going to make a move first? Space Station gets that full reset right now and just starts trying to level up that blue Evo shield with the charge rifle. Currently has 432 damage, so not bad, but only 1 assist. But they're needing to find some eliminations on their hand as well. My question is, we did see a lot of teams that were collapsing on each other over in Lava Siphon. How are all of these teams going to make it into that next ring, which is purely going to be open? And one of those teams in particular, Furia, currently sitting in first place with 21 points, have no real defensive legends. They only can rely on those Bangalore smokes.
And the placement of where they're positioning too, because the circle is to their backs and they still have that slight high ground by the bridge area that they can work off of, and they're going to be able to overlook a lot of the spots that were forced to play off the low ground. E8 now in a lot of trouble. TSM get wiped out by Luminosity. Are you kidding me? That is Luminosity rotating from the southern side of the zone, cleaning them up when they were taking control of that building since the very beginning of the game. E8 now still alive, still going to be able to try to reset and recover, because like you mentioned, Tiff, there's a lot of squads in this area, so nobody wanting to put themselves in the line of sight where they could inevitably get pinched.
I mean, that's exactly what's going to happen. The first team to break line of sight in front of all 5 teams that are trying to rotate into that next zone is ultimately going to be targeted by every single team. And look at it right now. 100 Thieves doing a great job at eliminating that enemy's black hole right there super quick. If everyone just focuses it, I believe it's only 180 damage, so it can go down really, really quick. And just trying to reposition an E8 going to fall at the hands of Vaxlon. So unfortunately, they're not going to be able to make that tremulating journey to that next zone. And 100 Thieves continuing on, taking out FaZe as well.
One by one, as 100 Thieves claims each and every single one of these squads that were stuck inside Lava Siphon. Now they are the victors of the Lava Siphon area, and it's also nice to know while all that action was going down, that Space Station has also taken care of Luminosity. So Luminosity out, TSM out, and Space Station now taking control over that southwest side of that next zone. We know that this zone is going to be pulling towards the middle, which is going to be in a bit of that low ground area between Lava Siphon into that open choke point that leads into the geysers that Optic Gaming are now situated in.
Ooh, that means, you know, the guard had to have pushed out from that tunnel and are probably living in the open area. I believe there's only like 3 supply bins there to use as cover, but meanwhile, Optic Gaming Duplex taking a lot of damage, and that's going to be at the hands of Furia. His Watson's going to grab it down, so now a 3v2 situation and make it a last man standing for Optic Gaming. This is not looking good for them and looking great for Furia, and Optic Gaming going back to the lobby.
What a clean fight for Furia right there. Even though Optic Gaming had the nice gravity lift to reposition from skills, it was not enough. They went into the open arms as Furia as the circle closes in right behind them. Their next move is to get into that next circle. Can we talk about the Kraber shots? RKN claiming heads as well from the guard as they're forced to exit out of their little hole, but they're still finding more of these Kraber shots.
I mean, hey, that's what you love to see. I know we were talking about that switch with Rambo on Valk early on. Well, thankfully, Tom told me that they felt more comfortable with Rambo's competitive experience and be able to play with that aggressive playstyle on the Valkyrie as opposed to Watson, and that this swap, their composition, reflects where their mentals are at the moment. So I'm excited to see kind of how this keeps panning out for them, especially with that Kraber in hand. And we talk about these care package weapons, and one of the ones that we highlighted, it's going to be Scurry's got that Rampage.
Got that Rampage, and you're going to be able to work off the high ground too. 100 Thieves in a very nice spot, but the squads underneath don't have to be too scared because they have the natural rock cover for some safety. Is Fury about to pull off this res right now? They lost one of their teammates to the hands of RKN and his Kraber, but if they do pull off this res, 100 Thieves isn't going to give up this high ground, so they could actually go uncontested with this.
Oh my gosh, they are going to be able to pull it off. Now if they can just stay alive long enough to make sure that Zara is actually... Oh my gosh, look at the caster curses coming out. Watson's going to fall, but luckily just in the cover. Now my question is, RKN, are you going to line up a Kraber shot and try to shoot Zara out of the air? Can you do it? No, unfortunately it's going to miss, but that would have been absolutely epic, Vicky.
That would have been a flex. That would have been such a flex. He's still trying to land some of these Kraber shots, and 100 Thieves get that knock with the thermite. You can see now Fury in a lot of trouble, in shambles, absolutely shambolic as the guard look up the missiles from one of the members of Space Station over on the other side. 100 Thieves trying to get involved in the action.
Ooh, and this is where it's going to get incredibly interesting. 100 Thieves currently in second place with 28 points. 3 squads remaining here in match number 2, and 100 Thieves, they have that EMP coming in, and unfortunately it's going to stun them just enough for Onmu to take so much damage. Is going to fall now. Scurry and Vaxlon are going to have to keep the dream alive, taking a lot of damage, but the guard having that health advantage, and unfortunately 100 Thieves is going to fall.
They're going to go down, and there's still one last rat from Fury. I believe it's going to be Pandas the Bloodhound, and the guards still have way too much health for Pandas to clutch things out. The guard are your winners for game number 2.
Wow, that was absolutely so clean. I feel like the swap with Rambo on the Valk, Keon on the Watson, all being led by their IGL RKN, who had that Kraber